Whose time does it consume?
Hours.
Whose time? You and
Hours.
Teresa?
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Another thing we have in common.
I don't notice hyphens. I should. I just don't notice. I'm pretty good with spelling, but remember what I put when I emailed you and you said that
I'm just processing that in my brain right now.
but Teresa will notice like she's gonna edit read my book because I need somebody like her or you to
But
say,
isn't she in it?
no, no names in it. No names in it.
Anyways, welcome everyone. It's been a long
Welcome everybody
week,
to Therapy 101 with Michelle and Tom.
right? First, we'll work on each other, then we'll get to the rest of you. It is super humid here in Sarnia, Ontario. So bear with me. Oh, good news though. My computer says rainy days ahead. Oh, thank goodness. It is hot, hot, hot.
We had rain out here in BC, and it's not horrible. It's 23 degrees with a little bit of a breeze. So
Oh,
I think we're in the
perfect.
30s, but since last time, I was saying to Michelle just before we came on live, this is where we are. So if you're new with us, thank you for joining us. I did a big
Yeah,
invite on
welcome.
our Facebook page, and thank you for joining us. Yeah, Michelle does
Pom
when
poms, if
our
they
pom
show.
poms, and you go blurry when you do it. You're gone in the back, but
It's
it's still
okay.
fun.
I
It's
know how
beautiful.
it goes. I'm
But
fine.
Michelle and I, we took last week the holiday off, which was great. I had to go up and move my daughter back, my daughter and granddaughter's back from a house I
Oh,
have up in northern Alberta. So that was incredibly fast, Michelle. It was like a 12-hour drive up there, and we left Thursday after Teresa finished work at 5. So we stayed overnight. We drove like almost halfway.
hmm.
So we had basically 36 hours there to load the truck fully for a dump run, then come back, then load the truck to move. So we got there Friday around dinner time and we drove back Sunday morning to come back here. So it was crazy.
That
Teresa and
is
them did most of the work. I didn't do any work because I hurt my back a couple days before. And now I'm on WCB because my work's pretty like, letter of the law, like WCB, like they don't want me to be weeks down the road and then I'm really hurt, right?
no, of
So
course. And I
yeah, so
think
really,
all the businesses are like that this
yeah, so really good. No, I know some small business saying, you don't tell anybody, you work, I need you, right?
yeah,
So,
but then people
but
tell. So,
yeah, and
kitchens
and
are
so I
like
said
that.
to Michelle, Michelle and I kind of here's a bit of the background of our story for those that are joining us that are new. Michelle and I are brother and sister. Um, we were born in different parts of the world. No, we weren't. We were both from Ontario, same mother, back in the 60s. And we didn't connect. I was raised by my mom, where she was raised by a family in
Wolves.
Ontario.
Wolves.
What?
I was raised by wolves. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say dwarfs, but wolves, same thing.
Fine.
She's Snow White real in real time. But anyways, we connected, I don't know how many years ago, 25-ish, something like that. Is it that long? 20,
More
25?
than that.
I try to not age
I
too
was
fast.
19. I am 57.
Oh
That's
my
how
word.
that's it's been a we've been together more than we've been separate.
Okay, so again, I'm not good at spelling and I'm not good at numbers. So, but anyways, so we've been together. She's an East Coast, West Coast, and part of our story, we share bits and bobs with it as we go. But part of what's happened in this last year and a half, Michelle and I, and we would talk once in a while, but the last year and a half, probably a little bit before it started, we noticed that some of the same things in kind of the same wellness area. Um, we've had similar journeys, different things, but similar journeys, right? Michelle's done coaching with WW and other stuff, and very, very, very strong and encouraging people, and like, let's be positive and let's not get dragged down and stuff. And she's been successful with people, and I've gone through my journey of battling depression and cancer and like all of our health stuff. But I've learned through my personal experiences, and then I've learned through some different courses that have been great. So we came up with this idea: hey, we got nothing to lose, let's do something, right? So we've been doing this for a while now. So we've cut our teeth on it, and the reason we're doing it is we think some of the things we've learned with this mental wellness to that hopefully it's helping people out there. That's all we're really doing it for. And then we get to chat with each other, right?
Yeah, exactly. My purpose is a little more selfish. It's spending time with you. And of
Oh,
course sharing my knowledge and in my ultimate my ultimate quest to make the world a better place.
yeah.
But it's nice spending time with you.
I love it. Thank you, sis.
You're welcome. See you
She's
later.
making me
Thanks for coming.
she's making me cry in there. No, but anyways, yeah. So
You
we've
can't even
so how's
pass
your
your Kleenex.
wrong way? I always forget the word. No, see, I'm going the wrong way again. So I gotta go this way. There we go.
Oh,
Together. Look at
all
that.
right. There you
So
go.
how's your last 2 weeks been before we get going?
Good, hot, humid, had a tie-dye slash
I
lemonade.
saw that. Yeah.
It was a raving success. It
Good.
was absolutely fabulous. And we sold some You Matter shirts, say You Matter on the back. We sold some other ones that say Broken Crayons Stole Color. And it's teachers. Teachers are coming, loving it, and then sharing the positivity with their students. So it was good. It's been humid here. I've had a royal battle with the squirrels. They're winning. It's my tomatoes they want, but not for long. Gregory the squirrel. I'm going to have to name him Gregory. Not today, sir. So that's what's been going on. And besides that, staying in my safe, cool area.
Love it.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
had a battle, Teresa, more so. We had our townhouse before we sold it. We
Hmm.
had a battle for about 6 months with a squirrel that somehow got in our attic
Oh no.
over our bedroom.
Oh,
Teresa was going nuts.
I bet.
And it got in through like I think I don't know about building house, like the eaves or whatever.
They
And
get in our attic.
then it had babies there,
Oh my
babies.
gosh, the damage they can do, it's
And
terrible.
so wires, and the way we found out is we could hear them, but then some of our electricity, like all of a sudden, I don't know, the biting into wires killed any of them. But anyway, so we called an exterminator, and the exterminator was one of these ones that didn't want to kill anything.
Oh, we wanted to take it out to the forest.
Wanted to take it out to our parking lot and let it go back into the thing.
Oh,
So the first time he came, and we're paying for that, right? Yeah,
I know. I'm thinking job
catch and
security.
release.
Yeah.
So first time he came, and I think he got the one and the mother, whatever, however he did it, right? So the next time he came, the mother took off and he had 3 babies. So you've been to our place, our townhouse, so
Yep.
it's a 3 levels, right? So he's got a white, big, like 20-liter paint pail, and he's got the babies in it. And I don't know why they couldn't jump out. Like they must have been littler, but they couldn't
Right.
get out. I don't remember if he had a lid on it. So we're down talking in the parking lot. So he's going to take them and release them in the forest somewhere, which
Far.
is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we can see coming down the eaves of the house the mama squirrel coming down, coming down, coming down,
Looking.
running at him.
Oh, did he
We
have like a mask on and he was ready for the battle?
No, he was
Oh,
like a skinny older dude, and he just shooed the mother away. And
oh,
then I think he caught her at some point, but took them away and they
good.
were gone. But it was like 6 months. Teresa was going crazy. So, and her thing is squirrels or rats with tails, right?
Oh, I've heard that before. Yep.
But I think if you name them, then it becomes personal, right?
I have a member, Patty, who's lovely. We've been friends over 10 years. Her squirrel's called Larry. And every Saturday morning, she gets on a Zoom with me. And if I complain about the battle royale going on in my yard, she's like, not Larry, not Larry. I'm like, no. So that's why it's got to be Gregory, Larry's devious cousin. I get
That's
it,
so funny.
but it's just you know what? I know they go in our attic. We're working on that. Oh my gosh. But it's my tomatoes. It's my hanging strawberry basket. They ate every single flower, every single one, everyone. What does that say?
That's one of our wrong way.
Oh, you can totally
That's
do
one of
this.
our that's one of our things.
Are you so committed that that's in blood?
Squirrel blood.
Oh, oh, I'm liking it. No,
All the squirrel lovers are going to be against us, but
I know we're going to get nasty.
yeah,
Tom Paul at google.com.
yeah. But anyways, yeah, we and I'll talk to you a little bit later about our.
Yeah, your adventure.
I can't get into the our YouTube mental wellness pay like our. Anyways, talk to you later about that.
Okay,
But
sure.
anyway, so yeah, we had me and Michelle went through. There's new stuff, but we looked back some of the topics that were good ones last year, and so one of the ones we talked about is fear and like overcoming fear. Fear is a very interesting thing, and even if you like even if you're like a strong person, I find a lot of our topics kind of resonate with a lot of people. And again, what Michelle does really good is she doesn't want to live in the negative, so she throws me lines to say, "Hey, Tom, let's come back to the light," type of thing, which is really good. I really appreciate that. But I usually speak out of my experience, and then hopefully I hop to a good place. But we have this fear of like we had stupid gas prices. They're a little bit better now. I think we're 139 now, but they were like 170, right?
Whoa.
I know. And so my house, for an example, has been for sale for 2 months now. And
Right.
right after it went for sale, price is fine. Needs a little bit of updating, but there's nothing really wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. And then it was for sale for the first week. Then the fires came, and my daughter was evacuated for
Oh, I remember that.
3 weeks. So
Yeah.
then nobody's going to go. It's evacuated. Nobody's allowed in, right?
Right, right.
And I can't afford to pay my rent and child support and for my house, right? So I just talked to my realtor. So talk about fear. My fear is going, and so then you have to manage the fear. So I'm going, okay, like when do I hit a tipping point? Like when like I can't keep doing this, right? So
Right.
anyways, but at some point, at some point you have to deal with it, not let it emotionally, mentally suck the other parts of your life out. You just have to go, okay, this sucks, and then move on, type of thing. You know what I mean? Like you can't
Yeah,
let it flow into the other parts, else
right.
you're going to be overtly depressed, right? But so I wrote down, Michelle, what kind of fears do you face? But what kind of fears do you think are out? Like there's so many, but what kind of fears are out there?
Well,
Too
there's
big.
nothing like hitting me with a couple easy questions. So, so for me,
Oh,
the only thing I would say I'm afraid of is,
spiders, squirrels.
oh no, they get me going. Um, heights. That would be my thing. And when I was a little kid,
I have ice in here.
don't, yeah, don't judge me. But when I was a kid, there was an elementary school at the end of our road, and we all climbed on the roof. It was a one level, so it was high enough, but not high enough. Like I wouldn't, unless I was diving, I wouldn't have killed myself. But there was a bunch of us up there, and we were just running around. I don't know, maybe the ball went up and we went up after the ball or something. But, anyways, then I saw some of my brother's friends were there, and they climbed up, different brother. They
Yeah.
climbed up on the roof and they started chasing us. And I panicked out of fear. I tried to climb down where there was nowhere to climb down. And I ended up dropping and spraining my ankle. And back in the 70s, when you sprained your ankle, your parents said, "Oh, just walk on it, you big baby." So I did. It's just like, there'll be no going to the hospital. You're not even usually allowed in the house at this time. So, so from that, it's all, even though I know that was a one time thing, and I remember just like a cartoon character, there was the airflow vent thing, and I was trying to hold on. Tom, can you imagine? Help! I dropped like a sack of
That sounds like
potatoes.
Indiana Jones or something.
Something it was that it probably inspired the movie. So yeah, so for me, it's definitely heights. That I mean, I don't like snakes. Sister Tina terrified of snakes. So whenever you see her, bring a rubber snake. Anyways, so with other people though, It's so interesting. I mean, fear of failure alone, without even knowing what the failure is from,
Yeah.
it's such a real thing, right? Failure, and a lot of times, just like you were saying, it's all about breaking it down, right? Breaking it down into smaller goals or asking yourself, is and that's like me with the heights. So when I'm in a building that is very stable and I'm at the window looking down on Niagara Falls, just for an example, and I feel fearful, I have to go through that process of I'm not on a school, nobody's chasing me, I'm not going to fall, I have control. When was the last time I heard of a building going down? Not very recent, right? But it's amazing how we can lie to ourselves. So I think everybody to one extreme or another does it. It's funny. I was talking to somebody I was talking in one of my groups about public speaking. And what we were talking about is what's something you're doing now that you never imagined you'd ever be doing.
Yeah.
And with mine, it was public speaking. And actually, I was saying that my aha moment for speaking publicly in front of a group is I had a moment of, okay, Michele, what's worse? Is it worse for me to stand up there frozen, maybe run off the stage, maybe burst into tears? Or is it better for me to screw up my words or say something that isn't timely or whatever? And I picked the latter. I figured at least if I'm speaking and you ask my groups, Tom, I screw up words all the time, all the time. Words, sayings, they bring up, fruits and vegetables I don't even know how to say, but I get hooked on phonics and I work my way through it. But I had to look at all the worst scenarios and pick my own best of the worst.
So here's a few things. So for me, um, so I suffered with vertigo years and years ago,
Oh, yeah.
and it was weird. So one of the experiences I had with vertigo, and vertigo, for those that don't know what it means, vertigo is actually it's a hair in your ear, and there's a crystal at the end of your hair, this hair inside your ear, that sends a signal to your brain that tells you gives you a balance signal. And if the hair gets stuck, somehow lodged to the base of the other hairs, it tells your brain that you're at a different, like you're not standing up or whatever, however it works. You can look it up. I'm probably dumbing it down for me, but that's how it works.
Al
And
had it
so,
before. We know.
what's that?
Al
Yeah, so
had
it's
it
brutal.
before.
It's brutal, right?
Terrible.
And so all of a sudden, I don't know where it came out of, blah, blah, blah. My doctor had it. He says, I can give you a medication for it. It helps 50% of people. He had vertigo.
We were told.
And so
Yeah.
there's things like put your head between your knees or whatever, right? So I had it when I first experienced, I was driving home from Vancouver on the highway, two guys
Oh,
with me. I thought we got a flat and my vision went like it was like an old reel, film reel.
yep.
And I'm driving and it's like flip, flip, flip. So I thought, oh, back tire got a flat. So I started slowing down, pulling over. The guy beside me, the guy in the back, we're all guys, men, right? Supposed to be men. Guy in the back of me starts screaming. He wasn't crying, whatever. He's going, well, like he was screaming like a little girl. That's what men said. The guy beside me smart enough to grab the wheel and got me over safely. And he's like, holy crap, you get out of here, right? I go, we got a flat tire. He goes, no. He goes, your head fell on your shoulder for 2 or 3 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Took me to the doctor.
Wow.
Doctor should take my license away. He didn't because I was okay then, right? So anyway, all
I'm
that. So
surprised they
now,
didn't call an ambulance.
because my friend started driving, right? My
Right.
friend was there. So anyways, it would come off and on. But now I was paranoid to move my head while I was driving or not fast, right? So then the last time it happened, I flew from came back from Vegas, flew there, it was fine. Then all of a sudden I took a simulator ride with Teresa and some friends, and I can't do rides. I can't do it never ever
Al
again.
can't either. No.
Yeah. And then so mom is driving across from New Brunswick and she was in Medicine Hat with Bob and she goes, I can't drive all the way. Can I fly out? So I flew to Calgary. I hadn't had it for a year or so. I'm on the plane and the pressure and all that, I get it. And they actually had to dolly me off. I think it was a wheelchair off the plane. I'm supposed to
My
drive
gosh.
mom back to Medicine Hat. Then I'm supposed to drive from Medicine back to BC. So mom, no word of a lie, driving, she had to drive back to Medicine where Bob lived, Uncle Bob lived. My head's out the window and I'm making her drive like on the highway, like 30 miles an hour with her blinkers
I
on.
believe it. Yeah.
The next day I was okay and I drove all the way to BC.
They're wild, eh?
I
Yeah,
hadn't, I haven't had it since.
neither's he.
So the thing is, like
Terrible.
I have a big fear of heights, and part of it's, I'm seriously, part of it could be related to vertigo. I won't walk across, like we have these bridges like in parks and they're really nice over rushing waters. I went to the Hoover Dam like years ago when I was in Vegas. I could not go to the edge because I feel my top of my body's heavy and I'm going to fall over, which is just
Yeah.
ridiculous. Owning it, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting with heights, claustrophobic. When I was a kid, just being locked in a close space, and part of it was when I was a kid, that's happened to me in school, locked in lockers,
Right. Yeah.
right? So it's when I work with people that have these kind of fears, traumatic fears. What you said is important. You have to kind of name it, and then you kind of have to figure it out, try
Yeah.
to understand it, and then to get past it, you have, like, if it's a huge fear, like if somebody has a fear of spaghetti, like I don't know what to tell you, right? I know people have fears of food.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Well, you know what? I think every fear needs to be qualified as far as how much it's going to affect your life.
Yeah.
Right. And when Tina told me she's afraid of snakes, full disclosure, laughed my butt off. But you know why I laughed my butt off? We don't have snakes here. Here in
Yeah.
Sarnia, we have little gardener snakes. I haven't seen one since I was a kid. Well,
Yeah.
apparently in Belleville, in the creek that's right behind her house, it's full of water snakes. I didn't even know that was a thing. So she is, yeah. So as much as I joke, I'm also very sympathetic. And it was a little humbling for me to realize I don't have hey, Alan, I don't have the same experience as her. Right. So, of
What about
course,
spiders? What about spiders?
no, Al doesn't like the spiders. I'm good. I'm
My
good.
kids, my daughter, granddaughter, she passed on that fear to her granddaughters, by the way.
That's what we
Drink fear.
do. Yep.
Yep. But so yeah, so we talked a bit about different types of fears, and there's fears of commitment. There's fears of
100%.
again, me and you probably talk to people about fears of. It's interesting. I'd be interested in what you think about the world you work in. I've dealt with some people, which on the last, say, probably a year, um, people fear of success,
Oh, 100%.
fear fear of hitting their goals. So with you, with working with people with trying to be healthier physically,
Yep.
but I've people like say the gym or whatever, and there's this mental stumbling block, and it's not really the fear of, say, being healthy per se. There's actually precursors that you have to work through, and part of it is, from my experience, is self-value, a little bit of self-love, it's a bit of
Sometimes.
self-talk. I was told like I'll amount to nothing, so this self-value, it's like, oh, it's like Eeyore principle, right?
Yeah.
You know what, it always rains, I never get the job, somebody always gets it. I
You're
like the
correct.
girls' school, but all my friends dated her before me. That was mine in high school. My
Mm.
friends, there was one girl we all liked. I was the girls, I was their best friend. They tell me all their secrets. None of them dated me.
Yeah, because you're in the friend zone. It's
Damn.
exactly where you are.
So I'm,
Yep.
I'm, I'm okay with it now. I'm fine. I got through it.
You know what? It's so interesting as I got through it. It's so interesting as you're talking about that because a lot of times when people are fearful of, like, say, a commitment to work out, it
Yeah.
might not be it might not be that they're fearful of today going to the gym for 30 minutes or making that commitment to go 3 times a week. It's it's the commitment of once I start, I need to keep it up. What
100%.
right? It's the other end of it. Fear I will be good enough, says a land. Exactly right. And then that really ties in nicely with a couple weeks ago we talked about limiting beliefs. Like
Yeah.
when we think of so if we have a limiting belief that successful people are bad people, then we're kiboshing ourselves before we even start
Yeah.
because I don't want to be one of those people. I don't
100%.
want to, right? And it's so interesting all the assumptions that happen. Like when people say, so and so should share all his money, or the 1%, why don't they share with anybody? Why don't they? I don't know. I don't follow them around. I don't look at their bank statements. I'm pretty sure they're rich and they know the power of a write off. So you want to know they're, even if their heart isn't in the right place, oh, they're giving because their accountant is saying, hey, make this go right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another talk for another time, but
Yeah.
that's all part of it as well. So it's like when I have somebody with Weight Watchers that comes and has a big amount of weight they want to lose, but they've never actually taken the time to imagine what that looks like. What does it look like for you? Just for you, for an example, what would your life like if you achieved your weight loss goal? What would life be like for you? And you don't have to answer. I'm just using it for an example. But life is a lot different, right? And it's on ways as far as well what I said earlier,
Yeah.
I have members that zip line now that they never would, or we have great celebrations over traveling and not needing a seatbelt extender, things like that that people take for granted or don't even know that that's a thing. But a lot of times, yeah, you have this sentence or mantra or goal that you've decided that you want, but you haven't really, and this is just being part of your research and development department, is
Yeah.
that you need to really break down what does that look like. It's just like there are certain things I would like to have, but do I really want to put in the work to get there? Do I really want to be available? It's like when I worked at a hotel and I worked myself up from regular part-time server to manager on duty for the whole hotel. Well, I'll tell you what that includes, my friends, a pager. And I thought it was a great idea. I was like, oh, a pager, I'm moving up. I had this really cute little pantsuit. I was the manager on duty. Of course, everybody else just wanted the time off. I see it so differently now, like looking back, right? But they got me the pager and I felt so, and I'm like, oh, am I getting a page? I got a pager. And then 6 months later, I'm like, I hate this. Like, can I bury it in the backyard? Like, you know what I
100%.
mean? It's so careful what you wish for. It's like when people say, oh, it's so much better on salary. Well, get the job description and right.
Well,
It's so interesting. We got to do all that legwork.
and there's go back to famous saying, you know what you know, you don't know. So part of it is you kind of want to know what you don't know, and then depending on where you are, like talk weight thing. I think a bit of my journey because being where being what I've been through, and then having success with my weight, and then going through a valley. I've had a really hard time last 4 months, right? But because I've understand depression, these things, even if I'm going through like my body's going through a tough time here, right? But even going through that, because I'm not just I'm not 10 feet underwater, I can still navigate that. I'm not spent, right?
Right.
Because if your body's going through stuff like we have the tools, right? So what we'll do is like I think you have to be honest with yourself, but if you're sitting there going like I feel like crap, like you can sit there and go, I feel like crap, but I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to listen to music and dance in the kitchen, like all these little tidbits we give, right?
Yeah.
But I think you have to not live in denial, right? I was thinking of the habit thing. I remember years and years ago. I don't know. smoking, or I smoked 2 packs a day without filters.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? But I remember dealing with people who smoked, were trying to quit. And I said, you know what? Quit. And they had that fear. I can't picture never smoking again in my life. Quit the next smoke. Just quit the next one. Just quit the next one. Just quit the next one, right? So
Yeah.
it takes that pressure off you, right? I know people that were fearful of buying a home. I won't mention names, but there's some people because this fear of debt, which I understand, right?
Lots of
But
people are like that with kids too.
yeah, so
It's
part of it
sad.
is one of the things that I had down. So I took 2 courses battling fear, but one of the things, and you hit it, is like, first of all, if it's really hard, don't, like, there's lots of information out. Don't battle by yourself. Message me and
Right.
Michelle. We both have information, but notice how your body reacts, especially if you're talking about it. Sometimes, like, your body will react in a certain way. I'm sure Tina, if we talk about snakes, she would, like, there would be a physical reaction. If I talked about
Oh yeah.
spiders, my ex-son-in-law, big dude, hates clowns. You showed a
Oh,
picture of a clown.
I know people like that.
I
Yeah,
don't know how people are scared of clowns. I don't know what clowns did to when they're children, right? But let's
exactly.
but let's go to because this is the part that you like and I love. Let's go to things that we know that are helpful with breaking fear, right? So one
Mhm.
of the things that Michelle's probably has a tattoo somewhere is
No tattoos.
meditation is such a, and there's a variety of ways of doing it. Michelle can share some of her ways on our, see, now having an open Facebook group page, we
Yes,
can now share things in a different way there that are harder here, right?
exactly.
So and we'll do that, but Michelle's got some great links. There's some great things, like, if you don't meditate, I'm getting goosebumps in my head. If you don't meditate, I'm telling you right now, and if you think it's weird or not, like, just, it's like eating something you haven't eaten. Give it a chance, because I'll tell you, for me, who used to be so busy and stuff, it's a game changer. There's something about slowing it down, taking a breath. If you use music, you have somebody talk you through, just focusing on yourself. Game changer, right, Michelle?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. And it's easier than you think. I had a chat with a coworker today, and she's very tuned in. She's into all the same stuff that we're into. Obviously, she's a coach, right? So,
Yeah.
and I said to her, just based on the conversation, I go, so I assume you're a meditator. She goes, oh, no, 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 I'm just not there yet. That takes a lot of skill and precision and dedication. And I don't know if I can commit to that. And I said, do you know what I do? So I open YouTube on my phone. I put in, and for her, I recommended body scan meditation. And then I just look for the amount of time 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 15. And I start, and so she's trying it tonight.
Love it.
And I
Yeah.
thought, but there's your limiting beliefs and fear, right?
Yeah.
But everything else, she followed all the right people. I was quite surprised.
Yeah.
That wasn't from her.
And the limiting belief is such an interesting one, because so one of the
Yes.
things I'm going to put on the Facebook page. So I have a lot of people. Me and Michelle know lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people, right, from different venues. Lots of people, not half, but for say 40% of people I know have some type of religious kind of thing, and some of them they're just really, they have limiting beliefs. I'm saying, if you're my friend, email me personally, harass me. You got to get rid of your limiting belief. You got to get rid of these mindsets of, like, voodoo, some just weird stuff. That this is the way we've been created in nature and life. Like, it's all, like, you got to get rid of this mindset, because you got to understand this idea of slowing things down, like how fast and how draining the world is now, is not the way it was created to be, right? We talk about, and we will down the road, we talk about grounding the energy, right? I was,
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about, I'm doing this because I have to, like, take it back, because there's some people that drive me crazy because they have a limited belief, and then they stay there. And I said, well, get some information, right? So even my son knows that the way the magnetic core of the earth, right? So
Right.
we're talking about that. So me, Michelle shares, we talk about like there's energy in rocks. And if there's energy in the ground, like you can believe it or not, but go look at science, right? It's maybe not your field, but go look at it, right? So we're talking a bit about that. We're talking about like just different things, right? And they just had a hard time with it. I said, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not asking
Oh,
for money. I'm just telling you. Actually, you know what I told him to do, Michelle? It's here in the summer. I said, go up to the beach and put your put your bare feet in the sand, sit on the
yeah,
beach.
exactly.
Okay. They do it already. They do that. I'm
Yep.
trying to explain the benefit and science to it, and they're arguing with me, and they already do it. I know. So that's another talk. But
Yeah,
the thing about meditation, and it's all through different cultures and even all through every religion actually, and it's an important thing because the world is so fast. The world is so draining, and if you don't have a way to recenter, you're gonna, and that's why we're talking about fear, and we've talked about anxiety and depression, and there's so many things that are robbing our brain and our energy and our mind. So if my opinion, if you're not finding a way to reset, that's one of my words. Um, I just think very few people can handle it without meditating and having some values like other places to center you, right? So, anyways,
exactly. No, I totally agree. And if I can add on to what you were saying about the magnetic core, like we're so, and I don't know, you instruct me later if I'm going down a rabbit trail. Because where Tom says email me about religion, if you email me about religion, I'm going to send you a picture back of a deer in the headlights. It's no words. It's just going to be deer in headlights. I have no idea. But I watch this really cool channel on YouTube. It's very short. He does a 4 a.m. video every day, and it's called, don't hate me for this, Suspicious Observers. And you know what? I would love, Tom, you to tell Ethan and ask him to start paying attention to this channel. I'd love his input. So this guy, he uses all different sources to track the sun, and he'll look at what's happening on the sun with the sunspots and the flares, and it controls the waves, the storms, all sorts of different things. Fascinates me, absolutely. But it's so true. And you know what? We take the time to unplug our phone and disconnect. So, in order to reset ourselves to be in that cold state, we really need to do the same thing. And that tuning into nature, whether you have your shoes on or your shoes off, watch the squirrels, listen to birds. I work with a girl now here in Sarnia, and I have a member. I told them they're making me crazy. I had that her, Cindy, and my one member, they're bird listeners. So I had to listen, not that it was a bad thing, but I listened to them have a conversation one day about all the birds they hear in Tobermory. And and it's just made me batty. For one, the algorithms on all my social media are showing me bird jokes now.
yeah,
Coincidence? I don't think so. But now when I'm sitting out in the backyard, I listen and I start to try to find the bird. They've got to my brain, a bird brain, I guess. Right. But that's a great activity because if you're in the hot emotional state, you're never going to deal with that fear. But I think before you even get to like analyzing what the steps would be, I think it's important to ask yourself, like, is it really a battle I need to fight? Is it something
yeah,
like, if it was me with the snakes, don't care. Haven't seen one since I was 10, right? I would be like, it's not worth going and scaring myself straight or, doing meditation with a snake. None of that would work for me. But if it's fear of public speaking, and that's your job interview that you're going to on Tuesday, then ground yourself or meditate or tune into nature, do something to get you in that calmer state, the calmer energy, and then you can make a decision. Because when we're hot and emotional, or we're fearful, like you said about, Tina, how she responds, you're never going to make a good decision, right? She would never, maybe get to the point where she would go see one in a, children's zoo, or I have no idea where you'd even go to see one. Pet store, I guess,
See, I
right?
wouldn't want a snake on me. Like, see those people with the big. So my granddaughter, 7, Charlotte, nobody will know her. She moved here. She was telling my daughter told me yesterday. She goes, Charlotte wants a pet snake, and they're eventually
Oh
going to move
yeah.
with me. Nope, not having a snake in my house.
No, I wouldn't either.
But there's a
Mm-mm.
reptile house here, so
Oh,
go, and you can adopt a pet there. Emily, adopt a pet. You can go visit, right?
oh, that's take it for walks,
There you go. Bring a snake. But
put
here's the
some
thing.
bling on it.
So go back to what we're saying. So I thought of this, right? Me and you've talked about, and that's another one that was a great conversation, nurture and nature, right?
Yes.
So part of this thing, I was thinking of high anxiety, and then I was thinking, okay, so it's how you're wired. So you can have some people go, like, so I'll say, like, I won't say I'm afraid of spiders. I just don't like them. I don't want them crawling on me. By the way, I don't like birds. My son likes birds. He's going, oh, he recognizes bird sounds. So some of them can
Oh,
tell
he's
what
that
bird it is.
guy.
I
Yeah.
don't know that, right? So I remember, I'm a storyteller, sorry guys. I remember my good friend Penticton a long time ago before I met you, so a long time ago. Maybe
Oh,
around that same time. And my friend had a budgie in his house. And when we go there, I said, you got to keep the budgie in the cage because I'm going to get freaked out. And he thought, ha, ha, ha. And so he let it out. And I was going, like, if it goes near my head, I'm going to like defend myself, right? So one time he didn't go near my head, but the next time I'm there for lunch, he lets the budgie out. It goes near my head. I backhand it. I kill the bird by
oh,
accident. So what do you think happened? Did he not buy a budgie again, or was I never invited for lunch again?
you you were
He
never
never bought
invited.
a he never bought a budgie again.
Oh,
But
okay.
but it was a joke to him, right? It was a joke, right? But see, I was thinking about like going to fear. So my daughter is working through high anxiety, right? So, and I think some of that is genetic. So it's kind of his nature because she doesn't like spiders. But what happens is, and this is where fear will come in, but what'll happen is because chemically what's going on in her brain, and then this anxiety is a lot of times just a fear of the unknown. You just compound making up, oh, well, what if somebody looks at me or whatever? So they went to the mall in Chilliwack. So where they live, there's no malls, right?
Right.
And it became compounding and more stress and more people and where you would breathe and say, hey, like, it's not that busy here, by the way. And so, and then, my youngest had a meltdown, youngest granddaughter, right? So part of it is like, how are you wired? So if you know how you're wired, go back to dealing with fear of heights, we'll say for me, right? I might not have to go do a deep dive into my psyche or something like that, because that may be, and it could be like there's people that were suffocated, not suffocated, but were like something traumatizing happened as a kid, so that has traumatized
Oh,
them in a certain way,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's words. So some people have like the power of our tongue, right? So
Oh,
some
yeah.
people have done damage that way. So, but if you know how you're wired, talking through the steps of going, okay, how do I feel? Why is this there? Can I do that? Fear of skydiving. I hate heights.
Never
I
done
I probably could high dive on my last breath as I'm dying. No, that'd be
it.
fun, right?
Just in case.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So it's just one of these things, but you got to figure out what works for you. Like when Michelle was talking about people losing weight, like all of these ideas are great, but in I think one of the most important things is don't beat yourself up. The self-talk is real important. Talk, encourage yourself, say, hey, you know what, try that, didn't work, I'll do that. This was a crappy day. Okay, tomorrow's better. Find things that speak life into you. Find people that speak life into you. That's why I have that heart right by my head. Is the heart by my head still? Look at that, perfect. And that's just super important. If you don't have that, like if you're wrestling through fear, if you're wrestling through anxiety, depression, fear of paying your bills, fear of buying food because food is stupid, fear of the government like just messing things up,
Oh
fear of
man.
maybe the odd nuke flying overhead, um, fear of
Rewind, rewind,
yeah,
rewind.
sorry. So here's what we do with that. I'm gonna tell you. Well, this is funny. We got lots of time, but it's funny.
Oh yeah.
You know how you do with fear? You find something that immobilizes fear. It could be music, dancing in the kitchen. It could be
Yep.
cooking. This background, you know, I did while you were making dinner. I downloaded for backgrounds a whole bunch of my personal pictures.
Yeah, good.
And there's skies, and I realized one of my happy places is taking pictures.
Oh,
One of
nice.
my happy pictures. One of my happy things is cooking,
Yes.
right? One of our happy things is being with our grandkids. And it's funny when we're in these places, fear, like some of these things are stressors, they dissipate for a moment, right? I watched a hilarious movie. I don't know if you watch this type of movie. I love movies that some of them are all meaningful. Last night wasn't Bill Murray and the undead aren't dead or something like this. It's like this.
Mm,
Um, anyways, hilarious. Like it's a B movie that's supposed to be funny but not funny.
right.
And I know almost everybody I know wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't like it. I can tell right away.
It's zombie but dumb. Like it's. Did you ever watch Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that? No.
No,
Did
not for me.
Al?
I did. He did. He's watched everything.
I love Al,
Even like the old movie Airplane with Steve Martin.
but that's
Don't
really
call me
dumb.
Shirley. I hated that stuff. Well, I didn't hate. Hate is a terrible thing.
What about
I
Rat Race?
strongly disliked Rat Race. Who is in that?
It was a race for $1 million. Mr. Bean, and he was a narcoleptic where he fell asleep.
No.
You didn't like that? Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
if I tried to watch it now, but back then I was not on the Mr. Bean
Okay.
train.
Okay. Nature and nurture. Just saying this. You can poke me in the eye. You can throw punch me. Oh no, you can't. You're far away.
Yeah, I'm too far. Nice
There's
try.
somebody else I know that doesn't watch comedies and has very little humor. Now you laugh. Me and you laugh.
I'm funny. Just
You
like,
watch funny movies?
yeah. I just
Okay.
don't watch. Those are in the ridiculous spectrum to me. That's
Done.
all. So
Will
like
Ferrell? Will
Dumb and
Ferrell?
Dumber, loved it. Will Ferrell, it depends who he's with.
Elf?
Yes, loved it.
Classic.
Yeah, absolutely classic. Step Brothers, funny, funny, funny.
You
But it
know,
was the combination, it was all of them. You know what I mean? It wasn't just
oh,
him or just the other one. And I know it crosses some lines, don't judge me. But
and
even white chicks, funny,
you know what? So
inappropriate.
white chicks. Oh, you know what? So
Love
here's
it.
the thing I know. I get goosebumps again. Like so, there's things I told Michelle. There's, did you watch Peanut Butter Falcon yet?
Not yet. It's on my list.
Oh, I have to throw punch you again when I see
Did
you.
you watch Holes again?
Yes,
Again, did you?
yes.
Over the last 2 weeks?
No, 20 years ago.
That's what I said again. I knew it. My spidey senses told me.
Yeah. I'll watch it. I gotta find it. I'm watching the Lord of the Rings series now because I'm on the. So, but here's the thing I was gonna say. So, Michelle, I tell everybody over the last year and a half, I love these inspiring movies. If you haven't seen Peanut Butter Falcon, you got to watch it. Just such an inspiring movie. But the movies me and Michelle are talking about, right? So here's the thing I find, Michelle. I'm pretty sure everybody else is. There's a lot of these movies that are a bit of a. The whole movie is okay, but there's a scene or two in a movie that everybody remembers. I'm going to cross lines. If you got any of my churchy friends, if I offend you, email me and I'll apologize. In Step Brother, Will Ferrell and his buddy together, they're just trouble, right? All I'm going to say is the drum set, and then I leave it. Okay, them fighting alone, but their immaturity, like me and my uncle Bob, or me and
Yep.
Jimmy, my younger brother, we're not that bad, but so we understand that it's
Yeah.
just something genetically, right?
Right.
There
Funny.
was like with people quote Will Ferrell and Elf. There's one scene, there's several, but people go, "You have the greatest coffee in the world," or they'll have a different scene, right? So I love that. Actually, I was studying something about a year ago about the way our brain works, like the way this memory triggers, and it's usually like it's how a happy memory, like a movie thing, or somebody makes you laugh, right? So I'm regressing here. Tell me a memory, it could be a movie or personal, of something that made you laugh the hardest. We're breaking down fear right now.
Made me laugh the hardest. It's not related to fear, but I can, I, mm, but like, I mean, there's lots of movies that I've laughed a lot too, but there's also funny things like me falling off the end of the bed, like that, you know what I mean? Or just different times laughing with my kids over
Yeah.
things. I had a big moment with Alec, my introvert. He's not an introvert like at 37, but or 38. Good grief, that kid's getting old.
Yeah.
But he was when he was a child. And there was some moments with him that really and they weren't, I wasn't working on them. We weren't, he was in play therapy or whatever, but it was just us laughing hard because my sunglasses fell in the ice cream. It truly was that simple. And the ice cream was in between us, and I was bending over to do something, and we just cracked up laughing. And then for me, it became, I'm sure he couldn't tell, but it became very emotional for me because it was just him opening up, right? And feeling safe and just being okay to laugh out loud. So that, when you say that, that's the first one that jumps into my mind. But I mean, when I was in my 20s, my late teens and my 20s, I used to laugh my butt off. Excuse me, it's the humidity. I used to laugh my butt off to a comedian called Gallagher. Do you remember him?
Right. Yeah. Watermelon.
Watermelon guy. And he talked about a lot of things that you would talk about today, but I mean, a lot of things about government, smoking pot, being your authentic self, a lot of things that you didn't hear at that time, which made it funnier. Today, Bill Burr, and there's a whole bunch that are funny like that, and some a lot worse that I wouldn't find funny. But it's oh, thank you. Right. So yeah, it's interesting all the times because that's a great natural way to get the dopamine going,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Are you texting me? I'm not, I'm busy right now. I can't take a call.
Me?
Yeah.
People, my phone's blowing up from our show. It's crazy.
Well, we'll be done soon.
Remember George Carlin?
Mhm.
Yeah. To me, he
His
was
name
better than
went through my head while I was talking.
so I was typing that as it was going through your head, just telling you.
Oh, well, there
Um,
you go. Get out of my head.
so I had, yeah. So I think like part of like working through memory, right? So part of not me, but um I know through like a psychologist, one of the things, a friend of mine who does some of the stuff, he was telling me years and years ago, he says, working through people through, he was talking about not just fear, but other stuff. He goes, like you said, exactly. So you could be a psychologist, but you gotta simplify it. You got to make it bite size, right?
Yes.
So, and even though he's bachelor, doctorate, whatever he was, right? But and each person, the way you simplify it is different. So if somebody understands numbers, you do it in a way they can understand it, right? But one
Right.
thing is common. It says you in their place of panic or whatever, you have to you have to just like you have to lighten it somehow, right? You know what I mean? You got to figure out who they are because some people are whatever, right? But you got to ease it because when and you probably do this with working with coaching when they're all stressed, whatever.
Stop
One
looking at
second.
the phone.
Yeah. Sorry, geez, I wish they'd leave me alone. It's somebody who's,
What?
How do I get onto how can I see your show? It's here.
Push it aside. Okay, you got to show some strength and restraint.
Okay.
Push it aside, and as soon as we're done, send them the link.
Okay. I said I'm done. Too bad.
Yeah, hands up. It's like a cooking
Okay.
contest. Hands up, dish is done.
Or is this a prisoner of war?
You win. Yeah, don't do that. Just
No.
hands up. Away
Anyway,
from
so
your baking.
one of the funniest memories, because I picture when I die, I picture all the fun memories going through my brain, pictures, not the bad stuff. So I worked at Smitty's a long, long time ago. It was in
Oh,
Penticton. So I was a
Smitty's.
line cook. I was the
Yep,
top line cook. So what they would do is the guy who worked the wheel, you know what the wheel is, the
yep,
guy who got all the bills. So I go like, you know, 37 pancakes,
yep.
keep the toaster running, blah, 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 right?
Right.
So we go in Smitty's at 6 a.m. when it open, and I lived with this guy, Wayne, who worked there, a whole bunch of guys worked there. And so we had this guy, Glenn Houle, this French guy that come in at 7. The rest of us were at 6, right? Glenn was this French guy, long hair, kind of not dirty, like he lived in his lived in an apartment, but he was just like whatever, right? So we're all we were drinking and stuff like that. So the three of us get in. Oh no, Glenn was yeah. So Glenn was there. Wayne was in at 7. Glenn was there earlier. So Wayne's in at 7. Wayne's my roommate, and he's just easily scared of things. So we had brunch the day before Sunday. So we for brunch we'd have little stuffy squirrels, chickmunks, like on the brunch table, make it look good, right? So I took little chickmunk it was. I cut it open with a knife and I put it on a plate, and then we had pieces of spaghetti and different things coming out of it, looking like.
Oh,
And then we put it in the microwave, which was Wayne's department, his thing, right?
right.
And so Wayne comes in, and he's hungover, and there's 5 of us on the line, and we've been there for a while. We're waiting for Wayne to open the microwave door. He opens the door, he screams, Glenn's hungover. This is on live. I don't care, like whatever. Glenn bends over laughing. This is gross, but we were all on the floor laughing. Nobody got food for a while. Glenn
Right.
bends over laughing, and he has a snot bubble that
Oh
reaches the
no.
ground,
Oh,
and that goes all the way back up.
and everything got sanitized after.
No, we were shocked for this 5 seconds. It
Yeah.
was the grossest thing, but we were laying on a greasy mats, and like the manager up front's going, "Where's the orders?" We couldn't stop laughing.
No,
Like, what do you do with that, right? It
that's
was
right.
disgusting. Anyways, and
Everybody should work in a kitchen at some
he
point.
thought, yeah. So kitchen, if you know Anthony Bourdain, he had the best stories for kitchens. But anyways, yeah. So part of it. So I'm sorry if I disgusted you. That's just the way it is. But
I had my dinner.
our stories are here. Our stories are our superpower.
They are.
And if things like fear, or if you've gone through trauma, we all will experience different things that are tough. And it can be some things will be really tough, really bad, really traumatizing. But life's not easy for anybody, even the rich, even those that get a gold spoon. But we all have the potential of good stories. I know somebody today, Jessica, our cousin, and our mom are going out sometime this afternoon or this evening, and they just want to bring people on the street coffee just to be nice, show kindness,
Yeah,
and that's
awesome.
great. You
Love
know
it.
what? That's great.
Sure.
And those things are just you pay it forward and it comes back to you, right?
Right.
But I think if we encourage each other, focus on the good stuff, share the good stuff with each other, then the world is a little bit better, right?
That's exactly right. And I think, take that time to quiet your mind and think back about your own life experience. Unless you're about 7 years old listening to us, you've got a lot of experience. I imagine you're older than that. Um, so it's important that you realize you're walking proof that you can survive, that you can
Yeah.
go through change, and that you can accomplish your goals. So I think use your own self as your jumping off platform and figure it out, right? And again, analyze, break it down. What are, if there's something, say you want to go on a zip line for the first time, do your research, start YouTubing, start
Yeah.
University of YouTube, go there and figure out what exactly is entailed in that. What's the weight limit? What, because nothing isn't on YouTube. Nothing. Like I can say, I want to go to Harrison Hot Springs. What's that like? I Google it. 18 people that went there. They did a vlog of their experience, right? So yeah, it's a great resource is social media and YouTube. Join a group, build up strength that way and build up knowledge. The more it's like I heard somebody say recently, conspiracies develop when there's holes in the information. And that's completely true, right? And a lot of times they end up to be true, but that's another show. So think of it that way, just like the girl with the overthinking the meditation. Had I never said, it's super easy, it's all there for you, then she would have still been locked in and possibly never tried it. And what a
100%.
disservice to herself, right? So look up whatever it is that you want to try, and maybe you don't want to try it at all. We succeed when we put 100% in. So maybe, again, like we were saying about, is that really the goal that you want to achieve? I think I told you before, I had two members prior to COVID. I've had members since COVID, but they both lost 100 pounds. And they both did it in a similar time frame. And one of them did it by incorporating Zumba in. One of them said no activity. But she was very active anyways, right? They both achieved their goals two separate ways. And when the non-activity person who was active in real life, so I think that's important, like in her day-to-day kids, job, that sort of stuff. But when I asked her about, if she didn't want to, because you would fast track it by adding extra activity in. And she said, you know what? I don't want that to be my future. I know I'm just never going to be that jogging mom or the gym person. So I needed to do it my own way. And I thought, you
Right.
know what? That's very powerful. She got to the same result. She just did it her own way.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of sayings about fear that I'll leave with.
Okay.
First one's William Shakespeare, and he says, "Our doubts are traitors and makes us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt." Old English, whatever. I understand what you're saying. Nelson Mandela, "The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Another one, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek."
Deep.
So the whole idea, the worst part of fear is the effort to try to overcome it.
Right.
Right? So, anyways, we're gonna go. Have a phenomenal week.
Fabulous.
Tell yourself, look in the mirror, tell yourself that you are wonderful, you're beautiful, you're awesome, and tell somebody else you love or that they are beautiful and wonderful and awesome. And have a phenomenal week. And we'll see you next Sunday.
Same bat time, same bat channel. See you
Yeah.
next week, everybody. Don't forget how absolutely awesome and amazing you are. Done. Done deal. Great show today. Absolutely.
I think it was the banner.
It's got to be. It's got to be.